You're right there guys, today we're talking soufflé. It's known as probably one of the most romantic desserts you can have, and here's how you can make it. So hi there guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a pistachio, dark chocolate and orange soufflé. So let's start with roughly 50 grams of de-shelled pistachios and pour them into a little grinder. And we're just going to gently pulse it together until we get a fairly fine crumb. Then just leave it to one side while we butter our ramekins. So get yourself a decent sized ramekin and a pastry brush. And you want the butter to be not melted, but just more than soft. So paint all over the bottom, but when it comes to the sides, make sure you stroke upwards. It's almost like giving it little grooves so the souffle can rise. This is going to be very important. But once that's done, pour the pistachios into the ramekin that's been buttered, and we're going to roll the pistachios around the inside of the ramekin so it sticks to the butter, giving it a nice even coating on the inside. And then leave them in the fridge for at least half an hour, or in the freezer for at least 10 minutes. We need them nice and cold. Now onto our mixture. Into a pan, you want to pour 300 milliliters of milk. Then we're going to zest and juice one whole orange. Into that we're going to add 2 tablespoons or 20 grams of corn flour. Bring it to the boil slowly. This mixture will thicken very quickly once it gets to temperature. Then in a separate bowl we're going to break up 300 grams of dark chocolate. And just a word of warning, the darker the chocolate, the little bit more sugar you need to add to this mixture, as dark chocolate can be really bitter. But I'm using 85% dark chocolate, so if you follow this recipe you should be fine. But when the milk has come to temperature and it's started to thicken, pour it over the chocolate and give it a good mix. Then we're going to add a small sprinkle of malden sea salt. Separate 2 eggs, make sure you keep the whites. Wait until the mixture is slightly cooled, then throw in 2 yolks and give it another good mix, and you'll start to see it coming nice and shiny and glossy. In a separate bowl we're going to throw in the 2 egg whites from the eggs before, and we're going to add in a 3rd egg white. Then we're just going to assemble our little mixer thing, making sure we find the beating attachments, and we're going to whisk this on low speed just to start getting a little bit of air into the mixture. Then just slowly increase the speed until you start to form them soft peaks, something like this. This is when you can start to trickle in your 160 grams of sugar. And remember when I said I'm using 160 grams because I'm using 85% dark chocolate. If you're using 75% or less, maybe just drop the sugar down a little bit. But we're going to keep whisking that in slowly, otherwise it's going to deflate the eggs, but until we get a nice stiff peak. Something like this. Then we're just going to disassemble our mixer and try and remove all the meringue that's clinging on to dear life, and we're just going to pop it back in its little case. First, with the chocolate mixture, we're going to remove about 50 grams. We're going to save this later for the filling. Now to mix these together, you got to be very careful. We're going to take about 1/8 of the mixture and mix it in quite vigorously. This will make it easier for us to mix the rest of the mixture in very softly. So once that's all incorporated, throw in the rest of the meringue and gently fold it through. You want to be folding, try not to knock any of that air out of the egg. You want to keep folding in the egg whites until you don't see any white streaks left. But as soon as you're done, stop. Make sure you wait until the mixture is completely cooled down before you put it into the ramekins. And then just remove your molds from the fridge or the freezer, lay them on a baking tray, and fill them all the way till about half a centimetre from the top. Try to resist the urge to stick your face in the chocolate mix because that fragrance from the orange is absolutely incredible. Then just before they go in the oven, you want to give them a couple of light taps, not too hard, you don't want to knock the air out, but just enough to disperse the mixture across the ramekin evenly. And then just wipe around the top with your thumb, just to get rid of that extra little bit of butter and pistachios that we don't need. This will hinder it from rising. And then if you're using a fan assisted oven, like I am, make sure you drop that temperature all the way down to 160 degrees, and we're going to cook this between 15 and 18 minutes. For non-fan assisted, make sure you add on an extra 20 degrees. And while they're in the oven, to the extra bit of mixture that I took out before, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar and a good dash of cream. And then we're just going to heat it up, and we're basically turning this into a beautiful chocolate orange sauce. Transfer it into a little serving pot while we take out our soufflés. And would you look at that, that soufflé is beautiful. Finish it off with a few more pistachio crumbs down the side and a sprinkle of icing sugar over the top. Don't forget to cover it in that beautiful chocolate sauce. And then you can just watch me dip my spoon into this beautiful little Christmas setting I've set up for my Instagram pictures. And just look at it, it's beautiful, it's fluffy, it's light, it's chocolatey. That orange flavour is so intense. You seriously have to try this one. Let me know how it goes. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, just keep cooking.